Um, as far as assault goes, there's the strange thing about growing up in Dharavi and Kolivada is this whole business of a lot of gang wars would happen, and the the gang members would be perfect anatomists. So Indian Penal Code says that if you break a bone or you shed a drop of blood, it's a grievous offense. So these guys would be able to make sure that you lose all your guiders of your fingers so that you're not able to hold a knife or hold a gun using these very sharp pointed instruments which would go under this thing, and like rubber bands, one guy would hold the other gangster's hand and this guy would go tick 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 tick, cutting off all the tendons, and that's it. So there's no blood drawn, and that person is completely lost the function of his hands. You would have to spend about 16 hours of surgery trying to reconstruct the completely fascinating organ called the hand. And if you see how amazingly it works, it's you have to look inside to figure out that this cannot be made by a human being. Now the problem of repairing it in 16 hours is that they tend to start to stick when they are healing, and then 6 months of physiotherapy, and the day he is discharged, the gangster normally tells you they're small fish, they don't really make too much money, and so he says, "Doc, I'm a poor man. I'm very grateful you've given my hand back to me. I have nothing to give you, but if you have any enemies, I'll do it for free." And if you saw through this urban built environment, which is my favorite public health topic, built environment is what you guys are going to be creating for the world. I think a lot of it comes from how you design living spaces, and this whole meaningless violence and meaningless things, especially what is happening in most of the parts of the US, is frightening. And I think the Pruitt Igoe phenomenon, you all have heard it. The seniors have definitely heard of it, but I thought I'd cover that because I think that's the poster boy of what a bad environment can do for you. So here was a project. It was a US urban housing project, 1954, and they built some 33 buildings in a place and started housing people in it. And this complex was designed by none other than architect Minoru Yamasaki, who also designed the World Trade Center towers. Okay, so it was not a small guy. And he built this huge complex. And that complex was sitting right there, 11 stories, St. Louis, Missouri. And it was amazing. Everybody who came there got depressed. It had the maximum number of suicides in the whole of the US. And finally it got abandoned, and this $57 million project had to be actually demolished because it was such a public health hazard. What buildings can do to human beings, how architecture influences the human mind, human body is, I think, has to be learned from this example where we've had nothing but depression and suicides coming out of there. I was in Scandinavia recently, and they don't have much light out there, and almost every hotel room had these bright lights in the hotel room, and you would have to switch it on because when you're having 3 hours of light in a day, it is very natural for you to get depressed. And here we are in India. We have so much of natural light, and we seem to be air conditioning our places. Each building is becoming larger and larger to replicate the Western world. We are all sitting away from light sources and putting on our tube lights. And I don't get it. As a medical doctor, I'm really concerned because we have light and somehow we put Venetian blinds on that thing and we sit under tube lights. And this is what the Scandinavians are yearning for. We are happy. So when I was practicing in the UK, every third guy would have to give antidepressants. 25-year-old comes in, he's depressed with his life, you give him a pill to make him happy. We'd call it the happy pill, Prozac. And I used to say, 25-year-old, you are like at the prime of your life, you should be happy as a bird. I mean, how can you be depressed? But it's not that they are poorer personalities than we were, it's just an environment. Initially, I used to think that all they need is a good hot patata vada, cheer them up. And if you eat the food that you eat, you don't think, let's go out this evening and have British food. It's like military intelligence, it doesn't exist. British food. But I've seen a lot of rehabilitation for post-earthquake structures. So there's a lot of retrofitting and coming up with earthquake-resistant structures. And I've seen, especially after the Gujarat and Latur earthquake, most of the architects have reconstructed these beautiful houses all in neat rows. Like, they look very good, very, very good for showing the rest of the world. Unfortunately, what I found with my patients when I was following up with them is that they've come up with these from these villages where there are these narrow streets and the Panwala is the center of all the gossip. And if you don't reconstruct society and reconstruct the earthquake resistant houses around that structure which they are used to, they don't get used. And I was shocked to find how many of these well-built structures were not utilized by my patients, and they were happy to live in their shanties, in their slums. And all these beautiful houses, all in neat rows, don't really work. So we probably need our narrow streets. We need our houses stacked one after another. And that's how we live, because that's how we function. And I think somewhere we lose, again, functionality over form. And my emphasis is, of course, on functionality, because finally, that's what it's all about. Thank you very much.